Hello there, everyone. Welcome to my TNA Impact Wrestling review here for tonight, June the 28th, 2012. Before I get to my thoughts on it, as you can tell, it's pretty hot out here in Michigan today. Fans blowing on me, my shirt's off. Very hot day. Over tonight's Impact. Besides our shitty main event with a shitty ending, it was a pretty good Impact tonight. We had two great X Division matches to determine a new TNA champion after of course Mr. Aries coming out to forfeit the title, take on Bobby Roode. I'll talk about that in a moment, including a comeback to TNA. Also, we had two Bound for Glory matches, the gut check segment, and no knockout. But the only bad thing about tonight was the main event, which just ended, including this whole Dixie AJ storyline turning upside down. I thought it was going to end tonight and end in a few weeks, but of course, Kaz and Daniels just had to add more fuel to the fire in this ever-expanding, shitty storyline, as well as the whole Bully Ray and Chris Joseph Punk storyline enhancing a little bit stupider tonight. Few little stupid things, but tonight's Impact, pretty decent one tonight. We kick things off tonight with a first match, which was a Bound for Glory series match. Before that, I think we had some before that first match, but it was a first match with Mr. Anderson taking on RVD. Now, last week we had all 12 guys fighting in the Bound for Glory series, having a match last week. And last week's Impact suffered because you had to get all 12 men in there, and the matches were pretty quick last week. They're mostly focused on quick matches last week. A lot of 30-second matches, a lot of 2-minute matches. Tonight, matches were normal length, and both Bound for Glory series matches that did take place tonight were about 5-10 minute matches, including this match. Great opener between RVD and Anderson. Seen better from them. These guys have fought many times before, and I've seen better from them. I think everyone will agree that they've seen better from RVD and Anderson. But this match tonight, pretty decent opener, pretty back and forth match. Pretty even matchup between these two guys. But it was indeed RVD getting the victory with a roll up and a victory. Pretty even matchup between these two, like I said. Seen better from these two, but a decent match. Great opener from these two, with RVD getting the victory and getting the 7 points. I will tell you the rankings after the match, after the second Bound for Glory match. I'll tell you the scores later on in the night. After that match, we had, of course, as of now, the reigning X Division champion, Austin Aries. Austin will have the title. He'll be he'll be committing to his commitments to defend the X Division championship until Destination X. And that night, there will be an X Division title tournament. Tonight was the start to X Division tournament qualifiers to qualify for the tournament to take place at the Destination X pay-per-view. We found out some more things about Destination X later on in the evening as well as the next couple impacts. But Bobby Roode and Austin Aries almost had a showdown. As Austin was talking about the X Division tournament, Bobby Roode came out talking about how he thinks Austin Aries is out of his league, about him not deserving a shot at Mr. Roode at Destination X. There was a near fight, but Roode backed out like the pussy that he is. But Austin was ready, and I think Austin will do well in this match against Bobby. Of course, we've seen Austin being pushed lately, being pushed in non-X Division matches. His feud with Bully Ray was actually pretty decent, but we'll see what happens in this match. I saw some next World Champ chance. We'll see if Austin can prove it at Destination X. But as I mentioned, we have a X Division title tournament to determine the new X Division champion. So we had the first of 2 qualifying matches, including a returning X Division superstar, the Guru, Sanjay Dutt, returning after a couple years off. About 2 or 3 years since we've seen Sanjay Dutt being involved in the X Division and TNA. Nice to see him back. He took on this Rubik's guy, a couple new guys coming in. This is like what happened last year with the X Division contract. Last year they had a tournament involving an Ultimate X match to determine who would be getting a TNA contract. Of course, Austin Aries was the guy that got that contract, and look what happened. He got back into TNA and got the X Division Championship, about to challenge the World Champion less than a year. So, pretty good X Division match. We had 2 great X Division matches tonight to qualify for the tournament, and Sanjay Dutt looked very good tonight. Very good tonight. Surprised he didn't interact with his former fiancée, on-screen fiancée, SoCal Val. Well, that storyline's been dead for years, so ever since Sanjay left. So, a pretty good match from these 2 guys. Pretty high-flying match in some good spots. Killer DDT from Sanjay. Very back and forth. It was a moonsault. A kind of a Warrior's Way. Kind of a low-key type move. A double leg moonsault off the top. Like a stomp from the top. Getting the victory. Sanjay is the first man to advance into the X Division match. The tournament at the Destination X pay-per-view. So we'll see who else would qualify later on in the evening to join Sanjay in the X Division tournament. Now on our next match, which was the second, we only had 2 Bound for Glory series matches tonight, not 6. Which was Bully Ray against Samoa Joe. And I knew that Joe, Suf / Chris Abyss Parks would interfere in the Bully Ray match. Boy, was it. This match was pretty long. It was a decent match. It was okay. You know, it does some good moments. It was a pretty back and forth match for being 2 big guys. Joe and Bully Ray. This is actually a pretty good matchup. It was somewhat even. You know, back and forth action. Joe had control. It was Bully Ray taking control as well. So it's kind of like back and forth action. But the match took control for Joe. Especially, like I said, when Joseph Park came out and interfered. Slapped Bully Ray in the mouth. Caused Joe to get the Lakita clutch. And Joe got the victory, getting 10 points for a submission win in the Bound for Glory series. Now, I mentioned about the whole AJ Dixie, now Claire Lynch storyline, getting stupider and stupider, especially after the night. And like I said, that's not only the only stupid storyline in TNA, it's this whole Joseph Park / Abyss / Bully Ray feud going on. Last week, we saw Abyss interfere in Bully Ray's match against Pope D'Angelo De Niro, getting Pope 7 points. And Chris / Abyss / Joe Park did it again. Like I mentioned, interfering in Bully Ray's match against Samoa Joe. And Joseph Park was talking very mean tonight following the match. And Joseph Park challenged Bully Ray for a match at Impact in 2 weeks. And that match will happen hopefully at that Impact. We're finally going to see the end of this Joseph Park storyline once and for all. So there you go with that. Speaking of storylines that need to come to an end, we had a gut check thing. But we had a couple segments tonight involving, of course, AJ finding out he'd be facing off against Chris Daniels in a last man standing match at the Destination X pay-per-view. Also, a lot for next week. This week's Bound for Glory series, like I said, the 2 matches happened with Joe beating Bully Ray and also Mr. Anderson losing to RVD. Next week's Bound for Glory big match, Hogan made Jeff Hardy versus James Storm as our Bound for Glory series main event next week, whereas Donna Brooke made a Knockouts title match as Gail Kim gets a rematch against Hook Taskmaster. So we got some matches for Destination X, Impact in 2 weeks, and 2 matches for next week's Impact. But now on to this week's Impact, which continued with our second of the X Division tournament qualifying matches. I mentioned that Sanjay Dutt got in it. This week, he got in it. Now this week, our second match was 2 new up-and-comers. Rashad Khan with the big-ass afro took on Mason Andrews. Actually a pretty good match between these two up-and-comers. I like TNA getting fresh blood in the X Division. You know, you lost a lot of guys, the X Division guys. Now that Austin's going for the big one, you gotta have some new guys in the X Division. You know, Zema Ion's okay, you know, but like I said, you lost Shelly, and Saban may be leaving too. Who knows about him? Of course, we'll hear from Saban also next week on Impact. But it was a pretty good match. Good moves from these two guys. I can see these two doing well in TNA. But it was Rashad Cameron getting the victory after a STO for the victory. Got some great distance. It was a pretty awesome match. Pretty fast-paced match. Some good spots. And I think these two guys have bright futures in TNA if they continue. But it was Rashad advancing to the tournament alongside Sanjay Dutt. And Rashad's pretty confident about getting in the tournament and possibly being your next X Division champion. So as I mentioned, Sanjay Dutt and now Rashad Cameron advance into the X Division title tournament for Destination X. We'll probably have more qualifying in the next couple weeks or so, especially more next week as well as the week after that. So there you go with that. Nice to see some new X Division blood. Speaking of new blood in TNA, it's on to our gut check segment of the night, which involved the status of last week's gut check knockout, Taylor Hendricks. Now, if you didn't see my TNA Impact review from last week, I made my comments about Taylor Hendricks. And the gut check people always know they are going to get squashed. They don't care about showing off. They just know that they're going to lose and just take it like they're going to lose. You need to come in, even if you're going to lose, you got to prove that you at least deserve another chance. Taylor didn't prove that to me. I thought Taylor wasn't going to get in. But Taylor got in. Taylor got the yes. But a guy who didn't get the yes last month, Joey Ryan got back involved. He was in the crowd tonight. So the whole Joey Ryan Taz thing got teased again tonight. So we'll see what happens to Joey Ryan and Taz if they'll actually fight. Of course, stemming from the last gut check with Joey Ryan and Taz having a little Neo altercation. It happened again tonight with Joey Ryan being planted in the crowd. So as I mentioned, Taylor Hendricks, despite my disadvantages, she got in. But we'll see what she's got. We'll see if Taylor Hendricks proves that she is a worthy knockout. We'll see what happens in the future. Now, as I mentioned in the beginning, I thought this TNA Impact was pretty good. No knockouts match. We had two great X Division matches and two decent Bound for Glory matches. But the main event put this whole Impact down the shit a little bit. It kind of left a taste in my mouth. The main event, which was for the TNA Tag Team Championship, it was AJ Styles and Kurt Angle defending against Kaz and Daniels. It seemed that Kaz had a change of heart. He went to Hulk Hogan's dressing room and he said he didn't like Daniels anymore. Of course, Kaz was a little bit apprehensive about teaming up with Daniels to begin with when this whole Kaz and Daniels AJ thing started around January when Kaz betrayed AJ during a tag team tournament that started this whole train with AJ, Kaz, and Daniels. It seemed at the time Kaz had a change of heart. They didn't like Daniels and they didn't want to team with them tonight for the TNA World Tag Team titles. Well, as we would find out, that indeed was all a ruse. It seemed that way that Kaz was really going to turn his back on Daniels. The body language, Kaz, perfect acting from Kaz trying to act like he wasn't going to team with Daniels. Well, like I said in the end, it all became a ruse. AJ and Angle were feeding off the momentum being kind of a handicap match as Kaz was not supporting Daniels at all. It seemed that way as Kaz was going to betray Daniels. But mid towards the end of the match was a decent match. The ending was when the show kind of went down the shitter. It was a great impact, but the main event just tore it up a bit. The referee got knocked down after Daniels rammed Angle into the referee. Daniels brought a steel chair into the ring, and Kaz took it away from Daniels. And it seemed that Kaz and Daniels were officially done as Kaz flipped the bird onto Daniels and told AJ finish him. But then as AJ was ready to nail the nail in Daniels' coffin with the Styles Clash from behind. BAM! Kaz nails AJ with a steel chair. And like I said, it was all a ruse. Kaz pretending to not team up with Daniels, and Daniels and Kaz got the victory. 1, 2, 3. Kaz and Daniels retain the TNA Tag Team titles. Now, as I mentioned, we had this whole AJ Dixie thing turned out to be a ruse of them not having an affair, and instead helping out their new friend, Claire Lynch. Well, it turned out Claire Lynch didn't say that she had a child. That the whole thing with Dixie and AJ and Claire wasn't an affair between Dixie and AJ. It was an affair between Claire and AJ. As AJ is considered to be the son, the father of Claire's bastard son. That's how we had the Impact with Daniel saying, this ain't about helping Claire get sobered up. It's about AJ getting Claire pregnant. Like I said, this whole AJ Claire Dixie storyline with Kaz and Daniels has turned upside down. With Kaz's betrayal of AJ again, lying to everybody, saying he was going to not team up with Daniels, and hesitant to team up with Daniels, turned out to be a ruse and a setup for the ultimate humiliation, with AJ being revealed as this whole pregnant thing with Claire Lynch. I just hope this storyline would end soon, but it's just going to extend further and further. And it just ended Impact on a bad note. You know, we had such a great Impact, 4 great matches, and the main event took this Impact from great to shitty in an instant. So, that's sad to have a great Impact and shittily, with a storyline turning shittier with the whole Claire Lynch thing, with her now having AJ's baby. So we'll see that storyline evolve into being stupider territory next week on Impact, and of course, fuel more momentum for the AJ Daniels match at Destination X. Hopefully Impact's better next week, and hopefully Impact can have a not shitty main event next week. You know, tonight we had 4 great matches in a shitty main event. Let's have 4 great matches in a great event. Great main event. So we have James Storm and Jeff Hardy next week. We also have probably more X Division qualifying. Gail Kim gets a rematch against Plus Tex Marker. More BFG series matches. And Chris Sabin talks. Now, before I go, here are the current, I forgot to mention this earlier, but here are the current standings in the Bound for Glory series. After a couple house shows over the weekend, James Storm leads with 36. And with his 10 points tonight, Joe is in second with 27 points. Kurt Angle's in third with 10 points. Mercedes Anderson's in fourth with 4 points. And with this win tonight over Mercedes Anderson, RVD is now in a tie for 5th place with 7 points. Alongside Magnus, the Jeff Hardy, all in a 4-way tie for 5th. And 8th is Daniels, and still not on the leaderboard at 9th place, Bully Ray, Robbie E, and AJ. That is it for my Impact review. See you all later. Then my all been attacked by the review from Zach. Thank you very much. See you all later. Yeah.